Hello everyone, this is Julie from Heart to Hand Stamping, and I have a Christmas card tutorial here for you today, and I'm going to be featuring the Beauty and Joy stamp set. I've just finished using this in my children's Christmas card, and as I only used the sentiment, I decided I wanted to use the rest of this card to make a pretty Christmas card. I've also featured our Christmas layers dies, which make this lovely foliage, and there's some other dies in here that I want to use from Christmas cards as well. It's really beautiful. So here is the card we'll be making today, and I'll be teaching you how to create this fantastic brickwork. And there's lots of texture in this brickwork, and there's even some shimmer. We've used some gold embossing powder in there. I'm going to be also teaching you how to add some shadow into your stamping so that it will give it a dimensional look. We've also added some a die cut in here with some glimmer that's behind that also. So I hope that you will join me for this tutorial, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, let's get started. We're just going to take a piece of ordinary Whisper White cardstock, and you're going to cut it in half, and then on one half you're going to cut 1 centimetre off the top and 1 centimetre off the side. And then we're going to cut this die out of the top left corner. And to do that, I'm using our Christmas layers dies, and this is the actual die that I'll be using. So you simply take your die. I put the longest end down the side and the short end to the top, in that top left corner. Take that to your die cutting machine and just cut it. Now with your other piece, the other half of your Whisper White cardstock, you're going to cut it at 15 centimetres, and you're just going to put this piece aside. We're going to need that later. And then you're going to take the brick and mortar embossing folder, and you're just going to slip that in there like that and emboss that. Now once you've done that, as I've already done ahead of time just to save some time, what you're going to need next is to stamp our focal point. And the stamp set I'm using today is the Beauty and Joy stamp set. I'm using this because it was on my desk for my last project, and I only used the sentiment, and I decided I wanted to use this beautiful Christmas topiary tree in a Christmas card, so that's what I decided to use. Now what you're going to do is to stamp these images just onto a piece of copier paper, and I've stamped mine in different colors. You don't have to do that because this is just going to be a guide for us to get sizing and placement. You can just stamp it in one color, that's fine. I was just auditioning some colors, and then just cut it roughly out but closely to your stamped image. And then all you're going to do is on this right hand side, you're going to place this image as a guide, and I've placed mine roughly in the center here and about 1.5 centimeters in from the edge, and you're just going to sit it there. Now what I want to do is actually cut this brickwork away from my image because I'm going to stamp this onto my mat, so I actually want to cut this section of brickwork out. And to do that, all you need to do is grab a pencil, and starting underneath this first row of bricks, you're just going to draw a line that gives you sort of a shape all around your image like that. And you can put this line anywhere you like. So you can see I've actually tried it this way, and I decided to come this way. Don't worry if you've got pencil marks everywhere. We're going to be inking this piece, so you don't need to worry. So just try a few lines and see what you like. We just sort of want a nice cut out brickwork here. And then on the other side, we're also going to be cutting away some of these bricks. Now to get the guide for that, you're going to have to bring in your piece that you've die cut. This is our mat, and that's going to sit right up on top of the right hand edge there, and we want to cut the brickwork away so it actually avoids our die cut image that we have here. So I've come in between 1 and 2 centimeters here and just place a mark at a brick here. And then what you want to do is, again, come up through your bricks, flipping up this and trying just to avoid that die cut image. And I've finished here, and then down here I've done the same thing. I've just come down, around and down. So I'm taking this whole section out as well. So what I'm going to be left with is a section that's just this part in the middle. So once you've done that, what you're going to do then is take your paper snips, and we're going to be trimming this brickwork close to the actual bricks. So we trim it like this. I'm trimming nice and close to the bricks, like that. All the way around our drawn pencil line. And I'm going to continue doing that around all my lines, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my bricks cut out now, as you can see. So this will give you a better idea of what I was trying to tell you before about leaving this sort of area free for when we stamp our stamped image. So that will go there. You can see my die cut has been avoided by the brickwork, and with the scraps I've cut some extra bricks out here. Here's another piece that I've cut just to add some interest to the top, and I've even just got one little brick here that I've decided to cut that I wanted up the top. So you can really design this how you would like, using those bricks and those scraps. I kind of like this layout the way it is, so these are the pieces I'm going to be working with. So once you've got all your bricks cut out, the next thing we're going to do is apply some clear gesso to our bricks. And this will help us to create a really nice inked background onto our bricks. Now I'm using some clear gesso by Liquitex, but you can use any brand you would like. I picked this one up from Spotlight here in Australia. But use anything that you have, and I'm just going to pop it straight onto my bricks here, and I'm just going to use a brush, and we're just going to work that gesso into the brickwork. Make sure you just get into the mortar areas as well. This is a really beautiful embossing folder. There's lots of deep detail. It's a three-dimensional one, so just make sure you get your brush and work that gesso all the way in. I finished doing my gessoing now on all my pieces, so just set those aside to dry. And now we're going to be working on our background and doing a little bit of inking. So just take your die cut mat, and we're going to take a silicone mat. Now the ink colours I'm going to be using today are Crumb Cake, Mossy Meadow, Cherry Cobbler and Early Espresso. So we're going to start with the Crumb Cake, and we're just going to take a little bit of sponge, and we're just going to dab some ink all over our silicone mat, like that. Take this water spritzer, like that. And then what I like to do is actually pick up my mat for this, because I'm sort of going to be going all over my card here. So just turn it over and sort of curl your mat up a little bit, and that's how you can avoid getting edges, the straight edges of your mat. So we're actually using our mat as kind of a stamp, really, just to get some ink down. Come back with a little bit more. And you just keep repeating this process until you're happy with the ink coverage you have. So I finished my inking with my crumb cake and I have dried that all off. And now I'm going to bring in some of my cherry cobbler ink, and I'm going to take another sponge, and I'm going to open this so I have my lid open, because I want to take off a little bit of this ink. I just want to do this quite lightly. So I'm going to dab most of it off into my lid on my stamp pad, and then we're going to come in and just lightly dab some of this around randomly. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is add some cherry cobbler splatters, and to do that you just need a stamp block, and we just need a bit of ink on there like that, and then we're going to take our large aqua painter. I'm going to squirt a little bit of water, squeeze a little bit of water into that brush, and you want to pick up as much ink as you can on that brush like that. And then I'm just going to take my paintbrush, because I've got it laying here, and we're just going to tap, point your brush down and tap over the top. And that will give us a few darker ink splatters. Pick up some more if you think you need more. Trying to concentrate on those areas where I know I am going to have it exposed behind the bricks. And now you need to dry that off. To finish off our background, we just need to add a little bit of stamping, and I'm going to be using this beautiful script stamp from our Very Versale stamp set. I've already got my stamp on the block, and I'm using crumb cake ink. And the way I'm going to stamp this, I don't want it too dark, but I also don't want a second generation stamping either. So another really nice way to stamp is to take your sponge, take some ink, and apply it to your stamp with the sponge, and this kind of gives it an uneven inking, which is what I am looking for. Okay, and then we're going to take it, and now I know this area here is going to be open, and this is where I'm actually going to be having my little topiary tree. So I want it about, I'm just eyeballing this, I want it about, probably about there. And you can see how I've got sort of this uneven stamping, which looks really nice in this background. So I want some up in this corner as well, because I know that's going to be an open area. So I'll take my stamp up the top here and stamp there. I also want some stamping in this area here. So I'll come in here, trying to avoid that die cut a little bit, like that. And I want some down here also. Some down here too. Like that, and we need a little bit down in this corner, so I'll just do the top of the stamp. Like that. And that's our background done.